This is Joe Betar.
This is Ramon Robles.
And we talk to fascinating people about their love of hunting, shooting sports, and the outdoors. This is Hunting Matters. Peace Corps. What do those two words mean to you?
Tree hugging hippies.
Well, I think today that you're going to be proven wrong. I've never met, talked to, pick the brain of a Peace Corps volunteer, but we're going to get that opportunity today with Dr. Bruce Frederick, who's a Peace Corps Mexico volunteer. He specializes in climate change awareness and action programs based out of El Carrizal in Colón, Querétaro. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Close enough. Close enough.
Muy bien.
Muy bien. Hey, too. Take a listen to our conversation with Dr. Bruce Frederick. So, Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today. Where are you calling us from? Sounds like you're very, very far away from us right now.
Right now, I'm calling from the city of Querétaro in the state of Querétaro in Mexico, central Mexico. We're about 3 hours northeast of Mexico City.
Okay.
To drive it, yep.
Okay. And what in the world are you doing there?
Right now I am serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in their environmental division and assisting a small community in the mountains of the Colón municipality. Municipality is very similar to a county in Texas. And we're assisting them with climate change adaptation methodologies. I'm doing a lot with ecotourism to help them develop that aspect of their community kind of ecotourism or socioeconomic development. Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's fascinating, Bruce, this is Ramon, by the way. Hey, thanks for joining us. When you told us where you were from, I immediately pulled you up on Google Maps. And so I just wanted to see what that looks like. And there's literally one road on Google Maps that, I can see a shot of. And usually every week I ask somebody, okay, if a VIP's flying in, where are you taking them to eat? That's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, in your situation.
Yeah. This city is a city of about 2 million people, and it's got plenty of great restaurants. And we're about an hour away from the community which I serve, which is El Carrizal, in the state of Querétaro. But the city here is incredible. It's kind of the tech hub, if you will, the Austin of Mexico in many respects.
Okay.
And so you can get anything you want to eat here. Heck, we even have HEB here.
Oh, no way.
Huh.
Yeah.
How about that?
Several HEBs, of course, Walmart, Sam's Club, Home Depot. So it's a legit city with an international airport, and only about 2.5 hour flight to Houston or Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now, Ramon, I don't feel so bad for you.
Okay.
we thought you were living living out of a tent with a backpack,
eating bugs with tortillas. Okay. Well,
no. This is we jokingly call this poshcore. No, it's a little more upscale than some of our other Peace Corps posts across the world.
So we want to talk with you a little bit more about the ecotourism and specifically some of the work you're doing. But I personally do not know, have never met anybody involved with the Peace Corps. Have you, Ramon?
No.
So, Bruce, I'm curious. What is a Peace Corps volunteer? How do you become one, and why did you become one?
Well, basically you apply to serve for 2 years. Generally, if you're an older Peace Corps volunteer such as myself, you can serve for one. But generally, you serve for 2 years, and it was during the COVID pandemic. If you remember that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I was spending a lot more time indoors, spending a lot more time with family, and just had time to reflect on kind of what I wanted to continue to do with my career. And having grown up in the Virgin Islands, although I was born in Houston, I grew up in the VI. My parents were there for some 30 years, and very close to Puerto Rico. So I picked up a lot of Spanish. Had to take Spanish in grade school since fourth grade. And so I had kind of wanted to brush up on my Spanish and really continue my life of kind of service and adventure. And so the Peace Corps, there's no age limit, although most of our volunteers generally apply right after college, as you know, before their first real job or career. And, you know, most of our demand for a Peace Corps volunteer tends to be within the education sector, which is primarily teaching English. But there's like 5 other sectors of Peace Corps: community economic development, agriculture, and of course environment, health, and youth and development. And so within Mexico, we just have education and environment as the 2 sectors we're serving here. And in Mexico, I worked in climate for most of my career with respect to being a geologist and geophysicist. Typically, I was looking at rocks and interpreting past environments. And I wanted to kind of step forward and challenge myself to work at the grassroots level and actually helping people adapt to the changing climate. And of course, here, as much in the southwestern U.S. as well, the drought is the primary factor in people's lives here, and scarcity of water. Mm-hmm. So that's really what we're focusing on.
Okay. Was it, and I'm still trying to understand a little bit better, was it, were you bored? Did you feel called to do it? Did you need a new direction in life? I'm genuinely, curious, because I've had other people that have all of a sudden just one day go, okay, now I'm going to do this. And it sounds like you kind of took made a big decision, made a big turn in your life.
I did. My career was such that I went straight through my bachelor's and master's with consecutive, and after 6 years of university, I'd had enough, and I went to work first in Houston for 5 years, and then in the Austin area, and working in environmental consulting. So I was in and out of refineries and chemical plants up and down the Gulf Coast, from all the way from Brownsville, Texas to Houma, Louisiana. And after about 10 years of that, I was just doing a lot of chemistry is what it is. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got the understanding that, hey, I really like the physics of geology more. And so I went back to university at age 40, back to University of Texas, Austin, to get a PhD in geophysics. And without really a firm understanding whether I was going to go into industry or go into academics. And I started with the academic route, got a postdoc at University of Kansas, and started teaching, and then picked up some consulting work, and was doing that through the pandemic. And then just decided that, hey, I want to really just help people in communities that are in need, kind of with the knowledge and the experience that I had developed over the years, and whether that was wilderness experience, when I was a child, or going through college and such, or all the way through my experience as a geologist and geophysicist. So it was, I guess you would consider it more of a calling, but it was definitely a change within my career to be more of an entrepreneur and go out and do something for the greater good, and kind of see where that led, as a consultant.
Right. And how long have you been in Mexico in this assignment?
I've been here about a year and a half, so I've got about 6-7 months to go.
Okay. You've obviously lived in other places around the world. Were you was there any culture shock for you, or I guess you work a lot with the local people and the local authorities. How did that how did that start? Was that an easy transition, or were you kind of like a fish out of water in that scenario?
Honestly, having lived in Texas for almost 20 years, my ears had really become attuned to Spanish language. And obviously I understood the culture, enjoyed the food of Mexico. And so the transition really wasn't that difficult for me personally in moving down here. Like I said, we have a lot of the same amenities, at least in the cities, that you would in the United States. And, I'm living in a town of 6,000 and working in a village of 350. So that's a little different. Just fewer amenities, but you have the old general stores, just like you would in small town West Texas. You go into a small community and, you might not have a full-blown grocery store and hardware store. You'll just have the general store.
Yeah.
And so the Mexican people, extremely kind, extremely patient with my picking up the language again. And the Peace Corps trains you.
Yeah.
The Peace Corps trains you with that too. So my mouth was kind of trying to play catch up to my ears. I was fortunate in the sense that I understood a lot better than maybe I could speak the language at first. But I really relied on my academic experience and targeted Arkansas State University, which is nearby.
Oh yeah.
Cologne. And then there's other University of Monterey here in the city of Querétaro. There's Querétaro Autonomous University. So I used my academic experience to ask for help from the experts in the field with regard to wildlife conservation and conservation of the natural flora, the native plants and such that are endangered, things that are, beyond my pay scale in terms of being a geologist. We're working down here for SEMARNAT, which is the Secretariat of Environment and Natural Resources.
Yeah.
And so they had goals. They said, hey, we want to see you assess the deer population on this 5,000 acre ranch in the mountains and, assess its viability. What is it healthy? How many males, how many females, do we have on the property, as well as puma, armadillo, and we're trying to reinstitute native turkey in this area as well. So those are all things that, as a project manager and my experience in environmental consulting in Texas, I basically just treated it as another project and went and found the experts to assist. And so yeah, it was a bit of a culture shock, but not too extreme, because I had a lot of the universities and a lot of the big box retailers that you're accustomed to in the U.S.
Sure.
If you really need something, go to Home Depot.
Right.
If you're building something, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's a blessing, absolutely, to have those resources available to you. I'm curious.
Yeah.
You guys are tasked with assessing the deer population and other wildlife populations. How do you do that? Or do you fly? Do you do camera trap surveys? Talk to us a little bit about that process. Yeah,
it was really, really interesting. I learned a lot with Dr. Carlos Lopez at UAC and he's become a good friend. He actually put me on to y'all. He said, you really ought to contact the Houston Safari Club, Dallas Safari Club, and just talk about what you're doing down here. So that's one of the main reasons I reached out. And yeah, I basically invited him in. Last summer, he brought his students in, a group of 10 students. We have cabins up in the mountains with solar power and solar hot water and stuff like that. So we set them up in the cabins, and they had extra tents for overflow, and they were there for almost a week. Yeah, it was 6 or 7 days. They set up 16 camera traps. They left those camera traps for about almost 100 days. While they were there, they collected scat of different wildlife, particularly deer, obviously, and ran DNA analysis on it. So they had that data set. They also ran transects, where they measured certain distance and then counted the amount of scat on either side of any particular transect, and then the wildlife camera. So they kind of had these 3 data sets that they compared, and were able to draft a fairly comprehensive assessment of the Mexican white-tailed deer population for us and for SEMARNAT. So
is that population down there a different subspecies of our Texas whitetail population, or because there's listen, I'm not a biologist, but I have a friend who's got a property down in far steep Southwest Texas near Marfa, and I saw a deer one day, and I went, "Oh, look at that! There's a Coues deer," and he corrected. He said, "Well, yes, technically it's a Coues deer, but it's actually referred to as a Carmen Mountain whitetail, which is a specific type of Coues deer." So I'm just curious.
Oh, wow.
I'm just speaking to you as an uneducated person about the world you're living in. Tell us a little bit about the white-tailed deer population down there, with the type or the size, or compared to what we see in Texas?
There's some. And there are some photos on our website. I encourage your audience to go there as well. But I'm sure there are different subspecies. But yeah, you're speaking to a geologist, so bear that in mind.
Sure.
But they're not as large as the North Mexico deer population in terms of physical size, or probably South Texas is in some cases even larger. But they're not as small as the hill country deer that you see around Austin and San Antonio. So in terms of sheer size, they'd be somewhere in between. But this area, and the reasons I kind of sent the graphic, the little map that I did, this area is much, much safer than a lot of North Mexico. So there might be some hesitation for Texas hunters to come down to Mexico, but the U.S. State Department literally colors different states different colors with regard to risk. So I just encourage people to kind of look at that as well. But yeah, we've got our 5,000 acres. We estimated about 60 deer that are, they're not fenced in, so they're migrating in that area. But in SEMARNAT generally provides permits for 5 or 6 deer kills each year, and they'll probably continue to do that based upon our data.
How does someone get one of those permits?
It's just you don't have to get it individually. It's not like the U.S. They issue the permits to the UMA, and UMA is Unidad de Manejo para la Conservación de Vida Silvestre. So it's basically a protected area, a wildlife conservation area, and they issue it to the ejido, the ejidatarios, the leaders of El Carrizal. Here are your 6 permits that are valid between December 1st and say March 15th. and generally we don't use them all.
Really?
So yeah. I think this year we killed 3, and that was a lot.
Sounds like you and I need to get down there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, we're definitely off the beaten path, if you will, in terms of just, I think I'm basically just trying to increase knowledge, in that regard.
Yeah.
Because people think, oh, I'm going to go to deer hunting in Mexico. Well, I'm going to North Mexico.
Right.
In the Chihuahua Desert or something. But is
the terrain where you work mostly a desert or mountainous or a combination of both?
It's mostly semi-desert, semi-arid, and it's mountainous.
Okay.
There are areas that are more plains,
right?
In which case this area is very developed. There's Airbus is making engines here, and Bombardier is here making airplanes, and a lot of the flat area is developed with greenhouses for Sunnyfield tomatoes, and we have a ton of wineries, and so this area is semi-arid, but the volcanic rock here is very immature, so the soil with just a little water, growing anything you do very, very well.
Yeah.
So people have picked up on that, and so in the Cologne municipality, and I'm kind of north and east in the state of Querétaro, and that whole area is mountainous. We're actually in the El Zamorano mountain range, and that El Zamorano is the largest mountain in Querétaro. And what you find as you go up in elevation, right now I'm sitting at probably 6,500 feet above sea level, and our wildlife conservation area goes upwards of 9,000 feet if you're at the peak of some of the mountains in the Uma. And so as you go up, you get out of that semi-desert and into forest, into pine and oak forest. And a lot of the same live oaks that you see in Texas, they're here as well. They're just up further in elevation.
Yeah. So it sounds like a very diverse terrain there.
It is. The biodiversity here is incredible, especially with regard to bird populations. And so we're trying to highlight that as well for the bird watchers in our community. But
okay. Bruce, I was looking at the website for the Rancho El Carrizal, and I got to be honest, when I'm in Mexico, the few times that I've been there, my nights are usually spent upside down doing tequila shots.
yeah, right on.
So I'm probably not going to get that kind of experience out there, right?
No.
Okay, good. That's ignorance on my part, so I just wanted to make sure.
One of the things you'll appreciate about this area is it is Mexico. It's not Tex-Mex. It's not
right.
It's not the Yucatan. You're not going to run. I occasionally run into other gringos, but it's rare.
Yeah.
And so you get plenty of opportunity to practice your Spanish.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you speak pretty good Spanish, I take it then.
Yes. It's coming around.
Yeah.
I was certainly not the best in my class by any means.
Right. Yeah.
Everything's a little more difficult. You turn 50.
Yeah, right. But they tell you the best way to learn is to literally immerse yourself, and that's what you're doing. I mean, you're just jumping right in.
Yeah, and I really love the culture of Latin America and the culture of the Caribbean, and so I knew that despite like 7 years of Spanish through grade school, I knew I was a scientist. I didn't really focus on it afterwards during college or anything. And I think the only way I'm really going to learn this if I just force myself and jump right in. to the deep end of the pool, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've definitely done that. You've definitely done that. I'm going to go back to the hunting. I'm sorry, this is called Hunting Matters. So I'm just kind of in my brain. I'm thinking, how can Ramon and I go down there and see Dr. Bruce? The hunting program. So let's say Ramon and I want to come down to your part of the world and hunt for whitetail deer.
Right.
Is that done by contacting local municipality? Is it done by contacting a landowner? Do we call you and you put us in touch with people? Because if you've got these permits and you've got so many animals that need to be taken off for the sake of conservation and herd management, how does somebody even start that journey?
Yeah, there's contact information on our website, ranchoelcarrizal.com.
Okay.
If you're more comfortable with English, you're welcome to contact me, and there'll be another volunteer, more than likely, when I'm gone. So there'll be somebody to pick up the phone and talk English if you prefer that.
Okay.
If you prefer Spanish, Chava Hernandez is the technico for the UMA, so he's like the ranch foreman,
right?
And he has 40 years of experience in that area. He grew up there in El Carrizal, so yeah, he's very adept at any regulations regarding hunting that you need to worry about, importing firearms, perhaps places to rent firearms if you wanted to do that. There's obviously right now is not hunting season, but we have a lot of other things: cattle drives and horseback rides, trail rides, mountain biking, fishing. So we even have an old tin mine on the property. We're a lot of my focus is trying to increase the socioeconomic viability of the ranch, from April to November. And if we can do that, we're not just helping the community out, but we're providing jobs. And the more you provide jobs and increase the quality of your life here, the less likely the youth of the community is going to move to the city or try to immigrate into the United States. So that's a lot of the focus of this, is really to try to raise, rising tide raises all ships, and really try to bring some new ideas on both sides. I mean, I'm learning some incredible facets of Mexican culture that I never knew about, regarding family and cultural nuances. So it's really an intercultural exchange. But yeah, I would feel free to reach out to me or Chava Hernandez, and both numbers are on the website.
Right. I'll give out the website address later too, but it's Rancho. Sure. That's RANCHO El Carrizal. So the full spelling is RANCHOELCARRIZAL.com, and you can check it out.
That's correct.
I was just thinking, I'm totally imagining myself getting down there and hunting. If I'm going to fly, I'm not flying directly to you, right? I'm sure there's no flights directly to where you are. From Houston.
We have there's a direct flight out of Houston every day on United to Querétaro. And Querétaro, the airport is actually in the Colón municipality. So from that airport, with a grand total of 6 gates for an airplane,
nice.
It's nice and small. You'll sail right through there, and we're about 40 minutes away. A 40-minute drive. You rent a car right there, and El Carrizal is about a 40-minute drive.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map right now. I see the HEBs too. Those pretty nice looking HEBs. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Tickle pink. That's funny. It's only Mexico and Texas are the only HEBs, right? There's no more.
Not that I know of.
I knew there were some in Mexico. I didn't realize they went down that south. I thought they were just maybe along the border, but
Wow.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Bruce. Everything you do with the Peace Corps is honorable, and I love it. But when you said HEBs in Mexico, I went, what? That got my attention.
Yeah, my son too. He's like, "No way, Dad, that's incredible."
Listen, I've got kids in Oregon and California, and they are dying to get home and go into an HEB because they grew up in Texas. Yeah. Like, man, I still miss HEB.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, you kind of get spoiled on them.
It's usually an X when I think about moving somewhere. Do I want to move to Vermont? Well, they don't have HEB.
Yeah.
Well, Mexico stays on the list because they have the HEB.
Right. Well, that's a very old man thing of us to say,
yes,
though.
Of course.
Well, I don't know how far away from the
I know the layout
HEB.
I know the stores better.
And what style of HEB is it?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You talked about turkeys earlier. The turkeys down there, are they Rio Grande turkeys or?
Yeah, they're. Honestly, we don't have any on the property right now.
Okay.
They've basically been overhunted.
Yep.
And so that's part of the metas or the goals of SEMARNAT is to reintroduce the wild turkey. And yes, we did attempt a reintroduction about 3 years ago, and the pumas broke into the enclosure and killed all the turkeys. So it's kind of a sad story, but we learned our lesson, and so we're having to kind of reinforce the enclosure, as it were.
I bet that was a sad day when you walked up to the turkey pens that day and found nothing but feathers and feet and beaks. That was about it.
Yeah, that was depressing.
Brings back a sad childhood memory of my mother. One time I said, I want a pet. And she's like, we're not getting any more dogs. So she bought me a couple of pheasant poults.
Oh,
and I put them in this. We built this fantastic cage, and I lived over near the bayou in Louisiana. I woke up one morning, walked out there, and there was nothing but feathers.
Yeah. And
I was like, what happened? And my neighbor walks over and he goes, well, looks like the snakes got them. I was like, oh man. Course, yeah, that was the end of my pheasant days. So I had these, I had looked up to age myself. I had looked up in the encyclopedia and I'd looked and seen this particular type of pheasant. Like, man, they're going to be so pretty when they get big. And I had them for like 2 days and the snakes got them.
Yeah.
That explains a lot of why you are the way you are.
I know. Some childhood stuff I need to work out, but that's another
different show.
That's a whole nother show.
That's Dr. Laura.
Yeah, we should get what's that? BetterHelp.
Yeah,
maybe BetterHelp can get on as a podcast advertiser. Can help me. Hunting Matters is sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Under the visionary leadership of founder Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's is leading North America's largest conservation movement. Together with their partners in conservation, they're positively shaping the future of the outdoors through donations, grant making, and advocacy. The 501c3 Outdoor Fund raises funds to support conservation efforts by activating more than 200 million passionate sportsmen and women, rounding up their purchases in Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores and online. Visit BassPro.com or Cabela's.com today.
It's funny. No matter how well you know this land, you always seem to get lost in it. That's because it's your escape, your place to reconnect to nature and yourself. At Capital Farm Credit, we're proud to help people like you purchase recreational land where you can hunt, fish, four-wheel, or simply get lost in. To learn how we can help you secure land like this, visit CapitalFarmCredit.com. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Nobody wants to imagine an emergency on a hunting trip, but when the unexpected happens, you want the team of medical and security experts at Global Rescue to be there for you. Global Rescue Operations Centers are staffed by experienced personnel, and you'll always speak to an expert on the first call. With unparalleled capabilities to transport members to their home hospital of choice, you'll get back to your preferred hospital, not the closest. So, trade what-ifs for peace of mind with convenient travel services designed for the unexpected. Learn more at globalrescue.com/hunting matters.
The Houston Safari Club Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports the future of hunting and conservation. Wildlife and habitat conservation, youth education and outdoor experiences, scholarships, and anti-poaching efforts are just a few of the programs supported by this organization. Monthly events, an annual convention, award-winning publications, networking opportunities, and valuable resources for hunting knowledge are just a few of the benefits of being a member of Houston Safari Club Foundation. If you're searching for a group of people dedicated to protecting the future of hunting, look no further. Join Houston Safari Club Foundation today at wehuntwegive.org or call 713-623-8844.
Hey, I'm Trace Atkins, and if you grew up hunting like me, you know the importance of sound, or more importantly, silence. Every step, every breath, every move gets made with purpose. Silencers control the noise, and thanks to Silencer Central, buying one is now easier than ever. Plus, Silencer Central ships straight to your front door. Visit silencercentral.com/simple to see how you can get silence delivered.
You alluded to it a little bit earlier, and I think there are definitely unsafe places in every corner of this world, and I know that the general conversation for years is I'm not going to Mexico. It's not safe. It's not safe to go hunting down there. Do you feel like you're in a fairly safe situation down there?
I have not encountered any issues at all, and I've not heard of any of the volunteers here since COVID has been over. So in the past 2 years, no pickpockets, nothing like that. I don't even lock my bicycle. I have a bicycle I ride around town, and granted, I don't live in the city. I live in a community of 6,000, so it's a little different. But just don't bother walking my bike even. So I feel totally safe. Now, when you go to larger cities like Mexico City and such, then you just have to be aware of pickpockets and things like that.
Sure.
More than anything. But Querétaro is known for being extremely safe, and that's why Peace Corps headquarters is here and has been here for years. Probably why AHEB is here too.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys, you've obviously been entrenched in this for a while now, and you mentioned the threat of pumas to the turkeys that you guys are trying to bring out as well. Yeah. What else are you seeing as your big threats to your wildlife populations there? You mentioned overhunting of turkeys in the past and those sorts of things, and of course the natural apex predators. What about other things? Urban sprawl and those sorts of things. What are you seeing as some of the biggest threats to where you're working?
Where we're working, there's bobcats as well. At lower elevations, there's coyotes, but they generally are not at the higher elevations because of the pumas.
Yeah.
But El Carrizal and the town of Cologne particularly is known for being a very tranquil town, and there's not much urban sprawl there to speak of. And then you get into a community of 350 like El Carrizal, and once you get into the mountains above El Carrizal, and there's literally no urban sprawl. There's no. It's a beautiful place for stargazing because there's no light pollution.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's literally, and it's only, like I said, 40-minute drive from the airport. So the urban sprawl is really here in and around the city of Querétaro. It's become very popular, particularly after the earthquakes in Mexico City about 6 to 8 years ago. A lot of people started moving here. A lot of employers in the technology realm decided to set up shop here. Microsoft is building a huge campus out near Arkansas State University. So there's a lot going on, but the sprawl is really in and around the city, and the city is like on the opposite side of the state of Querétaro than El Carrizal. So there's no real threat to wildlife regarding car traffic or urban sprawl in that regard either. It's primarily apex predators and hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a bear population down there?
No, I don't believe so. Not in this area.
Okay.
No.
We're starting, and the only reason I ask, and I know you're you're quite a ways from the border. We're starting over the past several years. Houston Safari Club Foundation has been helping fund a black bear research project in Texas, and you talk to a lot of the ranchers in South Texas, that sort of thing. And they all say, "Yep, a lot of these bears are coming in from Mexico, crossing the border, and they're setting up shop in the States now." Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
I hear they're dressed as immigrants, so that's why they're hard to detect.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Yeah. Yeah, they get stopped for a second, and then
they're like, okay.
Where are you from?
On your way.
You hungry?
Carry on.
You like marshmallows?
You fool.
What else did we pick up on the camera traps? We picked up foxes, a couple different kinds of skunk, but the main apex predators are bobcats and puma. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. So El Carrizal down there, is that, you're doing a lot of work with everything from, trails, developing trails, doing horseback riding, the cabin rentals, the other things you guys are doing as far as, installing signage and from way back, rainwater collection and drip irrigation and pollinator gardens, those sorts of things. Is this is El Carrizal, I'm trying to better understand the region. Is it a place where you can book a week to come and do all these different things, or how does that work?
Yeah, you can. I've got prices in front of me, but yeah, you can literally rent the cabin for a weekend. You can rent them for a week. They're a little more rustic because they're so far removed, even from the community. Just to ride a horse from the community up to the cabins in the mountains takes about an hour and a half. And same thing with a pickup truck. It takes you at least an hour to get up there on the dirt roads. But so you can rent these cabins. There's also a hacienda that we're partnering with on the website. There's in Salatrera, which is a really nice old hacienda where they fixed it up. It's got a swimming pool. They'll serve you a nice meal. If you're coming with your family, you want to treat your wife, it's a really high-end kind of hacienda in a very small town, very tranquil. There's a gentleman started a brewery about 2 years ago, and he has excellent German-style brewed beers, and it's 5 miles down the road.
Wow.
And then beyond that, there's the town of Toloman, which is known for its traditional indigenous population. So you can really learn a lot more about the indigenous population there. Oh, yeah. And we also have rock paintings, we call them pintores rupestres, up in the mountains, 7 different locations where you can go look at old rock paintings that date back to 1200 AD. So there's a lot of history here. We're trying to partner with businesses in the area because we understand that, hey, not everybody wants to rough it, in a cabin in the mountains,
sure,
or by the lake on solar power and water for their entire vacation. Maybe they want to spend some time at a local winery, go to the brewery, visit different areas. There's certainly a lot to do in this region, and so we're really, as much as we're trying to promote El Carrizal, we're also trying to promote that whole region between Colón, the Pueblo of Colón, and the Pueblo of Toloman, because it's just up and coming, if you will, regentrifying in terms of ecotourism.
Yeah,
as they adjust to the drought condition.
I'm looking at the map again. I'm not as familiar with this part of Mexico, and I see Toloman. That looks like a beautiful little, almost like a resort town if it were on a body of water. I mean, the mountains and just very, very Mexico-esque, obviously, because it's in Mexico. But I mean, I look at it; it's straight out of central casting.
It is. It's the architecture there is incredible, and some of the native clothing and other things that you can buy there. The artwork is just amazing. So I'd highly recommend Toloman as well to go visit. It is lower elevation, so there's not as many large trees as there would be in El Carrizal. So in even Cologne, you get further up in elevation, you get more larger trees because they get more water throughout the year.
You were mentioning the elevation earlier, 6,500 feet, I think you said. But I automatically thought, okay, Mexico in summer, that's going to be sweltering. But 6,500, is that enough to kind of knock a couple of degrees off the temperature? Or, I mean, it's by no way Antarctica, but I mean, what is the temperature during the summertime?
Right now is our hottest time of the year, and it's here it's 3:00 in the afternoon, or almost 3:00. It's 87 degrees.
Okay.
So that's as hot as it's going to get. And it's a dry heat. There's no, there's not a lot of humidity.
Yeah.
But I encourage people, you want to come here when it's 110 in Texas, like August, September.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievably gorgeous here. It's in the 70s. It's just really the time to be here. There's a nice breeze. You wake up in the morning, it's in the low 50s,
Oh, nice.
high 40s. It's really nice. It's very mild climate in Querétaro, in the state, pretty much year round. But as you get, lower in elevation towards Toloman, it's going to be a little warmer, probably pushing 90 in Toloman today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
still, that's not bad, compared to us at 100 degrees with 100% humidity. It's,
it's not nearly as bad as a Texas summer.
Turn a gun you like into one you love. You'll shoot better with the Boyd's Hardwood Gun Stock. Upgrade your firearm to Boyd's and your gun will fit you better and look better. Boyd's uses only top-grade hardwoods because a hardwood stock performs. Boyd's gun stocks are engineered to fit precisely on its specified gun model. Their engineers have continued to perfect manufacturing methods since 1981. That's why you get far more gun stock for your money. Boyd's makes gun stocks for hundreds of gun brands and thousands of models. Shoot better today at boydsgunstocks.com.
Hunting Matters is presented by DEA Ranch. Are you looking for the ultimate South Texas hunting experience? Then look no further than DEA Ranch. DEA Ranch offers some of the best whitetail and exotic game hunts in South Texas year-round. Whether you're looking to fill your freezer or put the next hunting memory on the wall, their professional guides are focused on ensuring each client has a memorable and exciting hunting experience. DEA Ranch offers guided hunts, professional staff, chef-prepared meals, trophy preparation, and more. To learn more, go to DEARanch.com. That's DEARanch.com.
Gunworks is a Cody, Wyoming-based manufacturer and provider of premium long-range rifle systems, optics, components, and training. Since 2006, Gunworks has led the charge in innovating and engineering premium quality long-range shooting technology, equipment, and techniques with a singular goal of providing hunters the ability to achieve quick and effective one-shot kills at whatever distances shots are encountered. The Gunworks team is dedicated to service and perfection in purpose-built products ready for 1,000 yards out of the box. Learn more at gunworks.com. That's GUNWERKS.com.
Being on a shooting team provides our youth with valuable life skills like confidence, responsibility, and leadership. However, most of the nation's youth shooting teams have little or no funding. The Midway USA Foundation is a 501c3 public charity working to sustain and grow the shooting sports industry by providing long-term funding to thousands of these teams, probably one in your community. Learn how the Midway USA Foundation is changing the future of youth shooting sports. Visit midwayusafoundation.org.
Are you interested in breeding exotic wildlife as a method of generating cash flow for your ranching operation? Wildlife Partners is an innovative wildlife conservation company that is the largest breeder, buyer, and seller of exotic wildlife in America. Let them show you how wildlife breeding and ranching can help secure the future of animal species while generating cash flow and substantial first-year tax deductions. Wildlife Partners serves more than 500 private landowners in Texas and numerous conservation-minded investors throughout the U.S. Non-landowners can also own wildlife. To learn more, go to wildlifepartners.com.
The tourists you see in that region down there predominantly, are they American? Are they German? French? I mean, what do you see in majority down there?
if I run into people, predominantly it's Americans, because they've caught on to the fact that hey, it's only 2.5 hour flight. It's a safe area. I can drive anywhere in the state, even out of state. This you can see on the map that I sent. Many of the states between the central Mexico all the way south to the Yucatan, Chiapas is generally yellow, which is the same color as Costa Rica or the Bahamas.
Right. Yep.
You know, it's just like, okay, beware of pickpockets. It's like, that's about it. You can pretty much drive, and explore some just incredible areas. The Sierra Gorda is another really popular area for tourism and hiking and such in Querétaro, and it gets a lot more rain. So it's, again, totally different. Much more, wouldn't call it rainforest, but much more densely forested with grasses and stuff that would be more traditional further south. So,
what about the cost of living? Is it comparable to United States, cheaper?
Oh, it's a lot cheaper here. Let's see, a horse for the entire day to rent a horse is $35
for a day. Ramon wants to know how much a pound of chorizo would cost him to compare to.
How much cheese or chorizo could I get for $1? That's my unit of measurement.
That's a question for HEB.
Yeah. It sounds like it. Listen, I'm glad we're talking today because I'm learning about a part of the world I knew nothing about. It actually, I'm kind of thinking this would be a fun little trip to head down there and just check it out.
2-hour flight. I mean, come on, we're in a different totally
HEB,
different
Home Depot. I mean,
That's the thing. You're gonna come down here, and if you hunt and kill a deer, it's gonna be a grand total of just shy of $600.
Jeez,
dude, and let's go. We're on
right now.
That includes 2 nights in a cabin and 3 days of hunting.
Yeah, what we should do, Ramon, is we should.
It'll pay for your flight. The savings will pay for your flight.
We could go do a podcast remotely down there. Take a camera guy and film the whole thing and bring some visibility to what Bruce is doing on a daily basis. Take it out to a national level. It's I'm intrigued, Bruce. I mean, you're definitely a good ambassador for what you guys are doing in there because I'm intrigued by what you're saying.
Yeah, and I had a lot of experience in many different aspects of what I've done in the past, but one of the real benefits to being in Mexico is you've got a lot of the same technology. You've got the same 5G networks that we work with in the U.S. for cellular. We've got fiber optic internet. I've got, I watch Netflix on a big screen. At the house I'm at, we're not really roughing it like you would consider, Peace Corps, like that's really extreme. This is really, it has much more of the capacities that we have in the U.S. And it's just a matter of, like you said, being an ambassador and kind of raising awareness and educating people, because I think a lot of the, at least mainstream media in the U.S. tends to scare you about the whole country.
Of course. Sure.
In which case, like, I don't even want to think about Mexico. Like, but it's a huge country.
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Well, it's the first I had a job in the corporate office was up in the Midwest. The first time I went up there, they said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Texas." "Oh, everybody in Texas drives a pickup truck and they wear boots and they've got a gun in the back of the truck." I'm like, "Nah, you hadn't been to Texas lately. It's a big state."
Some drive cars.
Well, yeah. Yeah, my relatives that live over in White House, Texas, up near Tyler, definitely fit that bill. But
sure.
What's up? We're going to have to wrap here in a few minutes. I know you're a busy guy there, but what's the favorite thing that you're doing on a daily basis now?
Honestly, I love getting away. actually leased a horse in El Carrizal for the whole time I'm here. Kind of the same way you'd lease a horse in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I said, just, I want the same horse.
What is a monthly lease run on a horse down there?
Oh man. So yeah, I always negotiated with Java.
There you go.
But so I got a sweetheart deal.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I just enjoyed like literally jumping on the horse and getting out into the mountains, simply because you literally be the only one out there, and you will not see another soul. Yeah. This is not a big touristy area, and so I've always just enjoyed escaping into nature in that regard, and have been doing that since like I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I enjoy doing. The other thing, if I feeling lazy, I'll go to the nearest winery and just sit there and sip wine like you would in Texas Hill Country, right. And just like, I wonder, I wonder what everybody else is doing today. I'm taking the day off.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic life experience, and I guess let me go ahead and give out the website again, just for folks who are listening. Go check it out. It's Rancho El Carrizal. That's RanchoElCarrizal. That's Rancho Carrizal. RanchoElCarrizal.com. So, how much longer do you have left on this rotation with the Peace Corps, and then what's next?
Yeah, I'm scheduled to depart in November this year, early November. And in terms of what's next, I'm actively evaluating that as we speak. I've talked to my wife because my wife is right now in the U.S. and she can work remotely with her job. And so we're discussing, possibilities in Latin America, because of the great experience I've had here, with the people, the culture, the internet. It is possible. A lot of people are working out of Mexico City now, or a lot of Americans, digital nomads in Costa Rica and Colombia, all over, with decent internet. And so I'm exploring other international development type of opportunities in the climate change space.
Right.
I've also got feelers out at the local universities as well, because of my inroads there.
Right.
So who knows? I might be welcoming you guys down here in a little while.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm packed, man. I'd love to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sounds incredible. This is on a podcast now, so there's proof that
that's right. We've been invited.
Yeah.
We've got we got a price quote that we recorded.
It holds up in court.
Yeah, that's right. We're done. We're done. Dr. Bruce Frederick, thank you so much, folks. I can honestly say now that Ramon and I both know a Peace Corps volunteer. And cool. This has been fun. This has been a very enlightening for both of us, and we really appreciate your time.
I appreciate the time too, and getting to know y'all a little better, and getting to know your audience a little better.
Great, thanks, Bruce. And when you get back to Houston, give us a call.
Will do.
Hunting Matters is a Houston Safari Club Foundation production, hosted by HSCF Executive Director Joe Bitar and Ramon Robles. Produced by Ramon Robles. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. For questions or more information, email us at info@wehuntwegive.org.